Hey, hey, welcome back to the podcast. You are with the Rosaio team. That is Rosaio. I feel like everybody mispronounces
I've done it.
our team name, which is your last name. We
didn't even pronounce it.
I feel like this is a great opportunity to get the word out.
It's a learning.
Rosaio. Rosaio.
There's no R. It's not Rosario.
Yeah.
It's Rosaio.
I also put an R in there when I first met Chris.
Autocorrect puts an R in there. Yeah. Yeah, it's a problem.
Can you tell this is our second podcast? Because we're like totally professionals now, right? I mean, I think better and going well. And we're like 30 seconds in. So, ladies, what do we have on the agenda for today?
We are going to be talking about the changes in the industry in real estate. So last week we didn't talk about real estate really at all, but this week we're bringing it back to real estate. There's been some national changes to our industry that impact both buyers and sellers. And we're going to kind of go over what that has meant to the industry and some of our colleagues that we have been dealing with. So two changes. I'm going to define it very, very briefly. Two changes. Number one, we can no longer take buyers out without a signed buyer agency agreement. So we used to be able, you could show a house. We can't do that anymore. We have to have a contract signed with the client. Second change is that compensation, we're having way more transparent conversations about compensation, who's paying the buyer's broker commission and who's paying the listing broker's commission. And the buyer's agent is negotiating with the buyer client their commission, and the listing agent is negotiating with the seller their commission. So there's no longer an overlap where the listing agent is just blanket negotiating for the buyer's agent representation.
Yeah.
Makes sense.
So if you are a consumer and you're thinking like, what does that mean? So typically for us, we sit down with a seller and we negotiate, the percentage of the fee. And that is for both sides, right? We would negotiate the buyer's commission with the buyer broker commission as well. Excuse me. Whereas now we are only negotiating our commission, which I love. It's basically a separation of the relationships. Mm-hmm. You have a relationship with your client. I have a relationship with my client. This is the value that I'm bringing to my client. These are the services that I'm providing, and this is the fee that I charge.
I think it's also important to note that before these changes, this was right on the MLS. You can see exactly what was being offered. So you can see this property, this listing is offering 2.5% or 3% or 2% to the buyer's agent before you even go and see the house. Mm-hmm. And that is no longer the case.
Yeah.
Yep, that's definitely true. I would say that sellers still can offer commission to the buyer's broker if they want to. So that is definitely something, if they want to stand out and they want to attract people to come and write offers on their listings, they can absolutely put that out there. And the only, just not on the MLS. And actually, you know what,
really anywhere else.
But you know what I heard? I saw this argument on Instagram, and I was like, wow, I didn't even think about that. Because I'm sure you guys have seen somebody slipping the commission onto the key in the lockbox, but the lockbox is owned by the MLS or like partnered with MLS. So I don't actually know if we can do that. I mean, there's plenty of other ways that you can get that information.
This was a hard transition for the industry, and one of my favorite things about hard transitions is all of like the funny memes and reels that come out. So there's been a lot of jokes about someone putting like 3% milk in the fridge and like mowing 2.5 into the backyard. So in the listing photos you can see, but there are definitely ways to communicate what the buyer's agency is from the listing side, but there's a lot of debate kind of over whether or not whether it's not even worth it to do that up front.
Because
major debate.
We, at least here in Delaware, they rewrote part of our agreement of sale, and now it is actually a line item. It's a paragraph in our agreement of sale, basically saying if you want the seller to pay for your buyer's agent commission, the broker's commission, you put that right into your offer. It becomes a line item. And for those of us that do net sheets for our sellers, like we've always done, this just is another item on the net sheet. And the only thing that really matters to our sellers is that bottom line. What's the net?
Proceeds.
And so it really doesn't change anything for our clients. I think it's just scary, the unknown that people have experienced.
I think it's worth it to say upfront, especially for first-time home buyers and people who don't necessarily have 3% of the sales price of their purchase to give to their buyer's agent, because the buyer's agent does still have to get paid, that it's not out of the question to get the seller to pay the buyer's agent.
No, and I think we need to clarify that, like you said, the seller can still pay commission, and most sellers are still going to pay commission. The only difference is they're saying upfront whether they're willing to or they're not willing to. Maybe some people want to put it out there to, it's a strategy to market it as well. Like if buyer's agents know that you're offering 2.5% or 3%, no brainer. Like they're bringing their buyer to the property. They should anyway in this situation. But basically, I think it boils down to, you put your offer together and you put what you charge in there, and it becomes a part of the terms. And there are so many other terms in that contract that need to go into that net sheet, assuming that these agents do what we do, which is a net sheet. And it shows, this offer may have a lesser commission, but maybe these terms are different, and the seller's going to focus on the net regardless. So
it's the totality of the terms that matter. And I agree. I don't think that a seller necessarily has to broadcast that they are putting a specific percentage out there, as long as they understand, as long as we educate our sellers to anticipate that the majority of offers that will come in will have the seller paying the buyer broker commission. It will be outlined in the agreement of sale. If you educate them that way and you explain to the agent that's writing the offer, my seller understands that this is what's likely to happen, but you should write the offer that your clients feel is the strongest and most competitive for this specific property. I think you're golden. And then even for the people that are, the sellers out there that say, I'm not paying a commission, if it's in the agreement of sale and they don't have any other offers and you write it into your offer, they're going to look at it regardless. Whether they say they are or not, they're going to look at it regardless.
I think this is an interesting and good time for this to be happening, because for the last couple of years it has been such a strong seller's market, and now things are kind of naturally evening out a little bit. It's not, the houses are not getting 30 offers. Most houses are not getting 30 offers, like 200,000 over asking. So it does kind of give the buyers a little bit more wiggle room and a little more power in how they can shape their offer.
I think you're right. I think that especially because we're doing this in the fall instead of the spring, we're giving the agents and the industry and the sellers and the buyers time to kind of like adjust to this, because it is a different market than what we typically experience in the spring. So
the agents are going to be the biggest adjustment. I just took a class for continuing ed, and the amount of agents that did not understand the separation of the relationships, and how we should proceed moving forward. There was a big disconnect, and I think this is a perfect time for that. And I think that if buyers need to know that this is something like here in Delaware, because everywhere is going to be different, but here in Delaware, like we've always had these buyer agency agreements.
Absolutely.
I've always had these conversations with my buyers, because there are sellers that have put their house on the MLS for a smaller percentage, or a flat rate or whatever that is. And I've said, here's what I charge. If this seller is only offering so much, you will have to pay the difference. Most likely, because I'm calling this whole thing Ring Around the Rosie. Like at the end of the day, the only one bringing the check to the table is the seller, right?
The buyer.
The buyer. So, they're ultimately paying for it in some way. It's just how the terms are negotiated. But back to the buyer's agency agreement and the compensation, it's just now clearer, just like the
Right.
conversations that we have been having with our clients. And if somebody, there's for sale by owners that don't offer a commission, or they offer the buyer's agent a commission and they don't have representation. And there's all types of different scenarios that you can run into when you're purchasing a home. And if someone is not offering a commission, what I say to my buyers is I will never keep you from that house. If you want to go unrepresented, that is completely your decision.
Right. Your agent should be showing you how they're earning their commission by doing the work, and there's plenty of work that gets done through this process.
Mm-hmm.
So it's a little bit more upfront for like a listing agent. You see like the staging that goes into it. You see the marketing that goes into it. But for buyer's agents, a lot of the work happens behind the scenes.
Mm-hmm.
And if you don't believe that your agent is earning their commission, you should dig into that. Or if they're really not earning their commission, maybe you should look into getting another agent.
You'll know up front now because, you're going to have the conversation of, okay, what value are you providing me? And that's something, that we have clear conversations with our buyers about. Here's what I'm doing for you up front. Also, this agreement, I love this for everyone else that hasn't used this before, because my conversation with my buyers is, it's like an engagement, right?
Mm-hmm.
Like I'm committing to you, you're committing to me.
Right.
Because I am putting in work up front.
Mm-hmm.
I am, we as realtors, we get paid $0 until that house closes.
Exactly.
So I am putting in work up front with a whole list of things that I am doing to help you reach your goals. And I need you to commit to me. So I think it's going to bring more professionalism to the industry.
Yeah, you can't just click on the internet now and just go meet with a buyer's agent at a random house that you've never met before. Like the sit-down buyer consults are so important. You can break down everything with them. And I feel like in the past, like when I first got my license, you could just click any realtor in Delaware and just go meet with them like a random person. And you don't know if that buyer is going to stick with you or not. So I think you will still see some of that. For maybe agents
A little
that don't
while, maybe.
value their time. But for me, and we're all running businesses and running households and chasing children around. So to not have a client be willing to commit to at least a certain amount of time, it's not worth going out and hopping up and showing that house.
Right.
We provide too much value right from the beginning. That helps them navigate this very nuanced process that we know that other people aren't providing.
Yeah. I've always felt the same. If I believe that someone, even if it's a lead that has come through Realtor.com or Zillow, if I believe that someone is truly interested in buying a house, even if they're not completely ready yet, I will show them a house. Just now there's an extra step in addition to just making sure that they're pre-approved or like in the process of getting pre-approved, they need to sign an agency agreement. That's just an extra step.
Yeah.
I think it's crazy because when this all started, which actually started many years ago, 2019?
2019 was the first lawsuit that came out.
Yeah. And we've been kind of talking about this ever since then. And then we've kind of been through like the stages of like, is this going to happen? No way this is going to happen. And then you're kind of like irritated about it. You're like, this doesn't make sense. Like there's so much transparency in our contracts and this and that. But I think I'm to the point, I know I'm to the point where I really like it.
Same.
I really like it. We work so hard in this industry. Whew. We work so hard in this industry.
There's so much free work.
For free, most days. Honestly, I say it all the time. Like, if I wasn't so passionate about what I do, I might be like, see you later. But anyway, it's going to bring more professionalism to our industry. And I'm super excited for that.
At the end of the day, that's always a good thing. It's just going to make people adapt and overcome. And I think weed out people that aren't willing to be flexible.
And do the work.
Yep.
Yeah.
Speaking of buyers, we thought it would be fun to talk about the different things that we all want from our houses, because I think it's human nature, right? To think about, all right, what's my next house going to look like? So who wants to share like what I know exactly what my next house has to look like.
Well, tell
Certain features.
What is it?
Well, for one, I need a garage. I do not have a garage, and I have too many kids in sports for me not to have a place to put all of their equipment. I need a garage, and I would love to have like an office space for me to work out of. Oh, and I need a screened-in porch because I don't want to be out with the bugs, but I like to be outside.
Yeah, same.
Speaking of bugs, there's a gnat in here. It's driving me nuts.
I have a lot to say about this because I was a homeowner and then I got divorced. And as of this past April, I'm not a homeowner. I'm renting. And I've always been a city girl. I live in the city of Wilmington. But I love my rental. There's a lot of great things about it. But my next home, which will be a home that I buy, is going to have more than one bathroom. That is non-negotiable. And that is, I will say, that's the one thing that when I'm taking buyers out and then people are like, I don't know, I need this, I need this. The one thing I will never try to convince someone is that they can live with one bathroom. It's inhumane. I won't do it again.
How about you, Jeanette?
Mine is like a little more detailed than a garage.
Go for it.
I want like arched doorways.
Oh my God.
I want more coastal details. Like I know everybody's like, shiplap is out, but I love shiplap.
I love shiplap too.
I want a bathroom that's bigger than my bedroom. I feel like that's their bathroom more, right?
Like why going smaller on the bed?
Yes. Like I don't need, like I feel like my bedroom now is really big, but I don't need a big bedroom.
Interesting.
I'd rather have a bigger bathroom.
Tub.
Yes. A freestanding.
Not even a
one.
bath person, but like for that tub, I would be a bath.
Yeah. And I want to do lots of like different elements on the ceilings, like maybe some like wood planks or I don't know how I feel about like the black windows. How do you guys feel about those?
Love it.
You do?
Yeah.
I kind of like that.
Yeah.
I like them, but part of me worries that we're going to look back and be like, oh, that's the year of the black windows,
I like it too.
Yeah.
So it's a
That's the
statement.
French country of 2024.
What Jake used to say, the Tuscan left. Yeah. Shout out to Jake Ogden.
Modern industrial.
Yeah. I like the way they look.
But right, I feel the same way. I'm not sure if I'd like them forever.
Yeah.
But you don't have to be in your home forever, right?
No, you
So-
definitely don't. How about you, Amanda?
I definitely want an in-ground pool for my next house.
Really?
Yeah, I know they say it's a lot of maintenance, but I just feel like I want my house to be the house that everyone comes to for birthday parties and functions. And I feel like it's always been that. So I just
You say that. My friend Lindsay is like
regretting
No, she loves it. She's always had an in-ground pool. but
Definitely.
she definitely complains.
more natural light for sure. I would love like a wraparound porch. That would be great. A huge kitchen, but I feel like that's every buyer's dream. Is like, I want a big kitchen. And maybe some more land. So both of the houses that I've owned are townhouses. So I'm like next to someone. So my next house definitely has to be single family home, a huge yard. And I think I'll be happy.
I love that.
Amber.
Anything is better than my house now. No, I'm just kidding. I love my little house. But it's one of those things where like you live in it and you make updates here and there, and then before you know it's like 15 years later and you're like, man,
You lived in that house.
that piece of trim is still there like that, right? So we have an itty bitty kitchen, and I would love a big kitchen, mostly just for the island. Like I love, me, I'm social. So I would love to have a bigger house where I can have people over and like gather around like that island, and a bigger bedroom with a much bigger closet.
Would you do white cabinets or would you do a color?
I think I would do color.
Yeah.
I think I would do
I would
color
too.
with like this like a Moroccan tile backsplash Yeah.
I want
That
the
sounds like a
white
vibe.
oak, like that
Yeah, that's really pretty.
with
Mhm.
maybe white countertops,
Things like that.
with gold accents, although that could be also
But that's an easy switch.
that is an easy switch. You could change the
Yeah.
hardware, for the times. But yeah, no, that would be great.
Yeah. It's so nice to dream. Like when you said arched, I was like,
Yeah, I'm in my feelings now.
I just
Mm-hmm.
arched doorways, arched anything. I feel like literally, I know some people are probably like, she's crazy. But like, I feel like my blood pressure,
Yeah,
like, my heart beats a little faster when I see an arched doorway. And I'm like, ah,
it's pretty easy to find in the city of Wilmington. There's
For sure.
Yeah,
There was some really
every
nice
home I've lived
listings
in
that came
Wilmington
on
have
in Wilmington.
beautiful arched. Yeah, like the stairways are arched. Yeah,
yeah.
They
I'm
just
not
were
a
built
girl,
with
but I love
craftsmanship when those homes were built.
yeah.
Beautiful.
Yeah.
All right, you want to close us out, Amber, since you do it so well?
Yeah. So, I mean, we're dreaming here, right? When we meet clients on listing appointments and we're like, "Hey, you need to do X, Y, Z. Here's your long list." I would have a longer list. We would have a longer list. That's what I was telling them. Like, it would be something. So, go ahead and dream with us. But, the reality is we're all human and we have busy lives. But I'm glad that you guys took the time to listen today, and I can't wait until next time.
Thanks for coming.